This is Buck WSR Weezer. Hi everybody, I'm here today in sunny Florida to do a special project. This is an '04 Buick Rendezvous and we're going to replace the carpets in here. This is my mom's car, so on a visit to my mom and dad we decided to do this. I ordered the materials in advance, but here's what happened. Believe it or not, some bleach spilled coming back from the grocery store, so you can see how the carpet is all bleached here, and we're going to show you how to change out the carpets. First thing we're going to do, we've already begun, is to remove the seats. Back seats will come out, the other carpet pads. You can see the bleach spot pretty good right here. Can you get that in there, Mr. Cameraman? So that's kind of unfortunate. This car's in great shape for an '04. It's a Florida car. It's garage kept, and the new carpets will make it like new again. So take out the mats. We take out the seats. The back seats come out pretty easily because they just clip in place. Then we'll do the front seats. They actually bolt down, and we'll show you that when we get to it. So we're going to remove this cargo box here in the back, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4. These might be I don't know what size bolts these are. I'm using a 1/2-inch deep socket. These are probably metric, but 1/2 inch will get the job done, I think. Here's one. One here. Oh, it comes out in pieces. There's the one piece.
That's easier.
And then these two look like this. Looks like it's one. Yeah. Okay, so the cargo bin is out. And next we're going to move up and focus our attention on removing the 2 front seats. Alright, so here we are in the front driver's seat. And this is a power seat, so we're going to unbolt it, but we also have to unplug the wires that plug in near the front. But first I'm going to take off the 2 nuts here in the back. I've got a 3/4, I think it's probably an 18mm, but my 3/4 open end wrench will do it. So I'm going to take off the 2 bolts here, 2 nuts here at the back. Then I'm going to move the seat all the way back, slide it all the way back so I can access the 2 in the front. Okay, there's those 2. All right. And I'll just take your seat all the way back, and that'll make it easy for us to see the 2 here. You can see it right over here, or can you? I don't know. You don't have much light up here. Trust me, there's 2 more nuts of the same size to come off up here. Okay, so you don't need to watch me do all of that. Once that's done, we will unplug right here the 2 wire connectors. So I wanted to mention, now that we have the seats removed, passenger seat, driver's seat, the seat belt just connects to a bracket which is bolted down with the same bolt that holds the seat in place. So you don't need to remove the seat belt at all, like I had suggested earlier. It's just a matter of prying up that what do you call that thing? I don't even know what you call it. It's holding it down onto the bolt, but we'll just pry that up, and the seat belt will come loose. Okay, so the second row of seats clips in on these things here. So these covers come out, and kind of pry up these tabs. You can pop them out like that. Well, what remains to take out this center console? I'm not entirely sure how it is mounted in here. We obviously have a bolt here and another one up here. This looks like a 10 millimeter. This looks smaller than that, a 7 or an 8. Same on the other side. I don't know if there'll be other things that hold it to the floor. We'll figure it out as we go. But we'll have wires to disconnect, maybe some duct work because the heat and air conditioning blow out through here. So let's start with the obvious. I'm all about the obvious. We'll get to one on the other side. So after we remove those 4 bolts, we'll slide straight back. Here is a wiring harness that will probably separate, and that might be the only connector we have to take apart. Because this thing has, what's it have here? Lights, cigarette lighter, and some controls back here for the radio, so the guy in the back can control the music, which I never understood. I think the driver should be in charge of the music. So let me see if I can take this apart. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. If I'm driving, I want to control the radio in the back.
Okay, how do you do this? Looks like you squeeze.
There might be a little tab on the side that slips down over.
Part of it is I'm blinding myself. Oh, that's better.
I can hold it high.
Squeeze, lift. That's it. And then it comes apart. You squeeze these two, and then it allows you to lift this, and then it'll come right apart. So will it slide all the way out at this point? Yeah. There it is. So that ductwork just automatically makes a connection as you slide the thing forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's dusty under here. Aren't you ever clean?
Guess not.
All right, so we got the console out. We're ready to take the carpet out of this vehicle. Okay, so all that remains before removing out this carpet is this cargo tie-down strap. It takes a Torx T40 bit. We got to go out and get them. Hopefully that will. That's it right there. And
You have the right size.
we do. All right, so he comes out, not bad. Mm-hmm. Then we've already done this, but there's a couple of trim pieces. This one across the back, they pop off. They just have a couple of, you just pry them up there, and there's a couple of clips here that they get held in place with. Same around the door jambs. So now we're ready to pull this old carpet out of here and get ready for the installation of the new. Alright, the car's emptied out and the old carpet has been removed. We took a shop vac and cleaned out some of the dust around the perimeter. Not a big deal on this car because it was so very clean. So out here in the driveway we have the old carpet laid out, and right now you can see very clearly the result of the spilled bleach. And beside it I've got the new carpet pieces laid out, and you'll notice that though the original carpet was a one piece, we've now got 1, 2, 3 piece. That's not that big of a deal. The front 2 pieces, I mean, this has a seam cut up the middle anyway, where the console goes, so that's not a big deal. But there will be, behind the driver and passenger front seats, a bit of a seam that's going to overlap. So these 2 pieces for the front actually have a finished edge on them, so they will overlap, and I don't think it will be highly visible because it'll be at the base of the front seats, and the car mats may actually cover it. You might not even notice that. Well, we got the pieces laid out. We also have the padding. So we're going to put the padding in first, but the advantage of having the old carpet is you can put it on top of the new carpet and get an idea of where you're going to be making your cuts and holes. The new carpet does include the, you know, the contours, the seat brackets, the vent. That's pretty helpful. All right, so our next step then is to take some of the padding and get that down on the floor. That's not as precise because you don't have to. It doesn't have to be quite as precisely cut as the finished carpet will be. So let's get installing that padding. So we're cutting out the holes in the padding for the various protrusions. Right here, the access to bolts for the cargo bin where it bolts down. Using a combination of a razor knife as well as a pair of scissors. Again, this doesn't have to be real precise because we're just working with the padding here.
Those scissors belong to your grandmother.
Don't tell her that I'm using them.
I won't.
Alright, so that's that one. We got the 4 bolts for the cargo thing. This was that tie down where we used the Torx bit. Got another one right over here. And it's always good to have the other carpet just to look at where they how they did the padding. Now the padding on the old carpet is glued to the carpet itself. Which is not the case in a recarpeting job. So we'll just keep going here with this padding and cutting access to the various seat brackets and bolts and things that need to protrude through the padding. So just a little reminder to focus on the orientation of these inserts when you're ready to cut your holes in both the padding and the carpet. These are marked L for left and R for right. And they've got an indent on the inner side of both of these to make room for some of the hardware, the bracket that goes across from one side of the seat to the other. So I set these down into that spot where it goes, and then I'm just eyeing up some lines for where I want to make my cuts. Again, this is the padding, not as crucial as the carpet itself, but still want to get it right. Working pretty good is one of these hook blades on the utility knife. It's working pretty good for us right now. And as I said before, I keep going out to look at the old carpet, turning it over and seeing the technique they've used and where they put the padding underneath the carpet. So we're using the old carpet and padding as a reference point and a template. So there, that's going to be pretty good right there. All right, got one more to go, and then we'll be ready to try something with the padding under the front seats. And now you're looking at the inside of the vehicle with the padding in place. We've installed the padding with all the variety of cutouts that you need to do for brackets and protrusions. Show you a little bit of how we did the front. The front included more of patching pieces in here and there just to fit. There's no exact piece that they sent that exactly fits. So we put down 2 layers here in the front, and one we put underneath this ductwork, and then the other you can see we cut around the outside of it. So for some of these smaller pieces, just so that they do not shift underneath the carpet, we used a little bit of glue, Gorilla Glue, just to hold them in place. So now we're ready to bring out the new carpet, work through the same process, and start putting it in place. All right, just a quick a little problem that we encountered here. It seems like the new carpet isn't actually long enough. If we bring it back as far as it needs to go, this trim piece sits over top of it. We're left with a gap up by the center console here. So if we were to pull the carpet forward so that the console is on top of this, as it should be, then we're left with a 3 or 4 inch gap here at the cargo area. So this is what we've decided to do, and the only reason we have the console back in here is to see where it exactly sat. We have to move this carpet forward so that it's under the console. It's going to leave a gap in the back. What I think we're going to do is take a couple inches of this old carpet, which is still perfect, by the way, here at the cargo area in the back. Remove the padding that's on back here, and just kind of use this to lay under the new carpet. So the new carpet's too short, it'll come back to about here, but we'll still have a couple inches of the old carpet visible. I don't think there's any other solution, because this particular piece is just a little bit too short. Alright, so we'll do that, and then I'll show you how it turns out. But sometimes you got to get creative, and I'm a little disappointed that we have to get creative in this fashion, but we'll make the most of it. Okay, we've set down in place the big piece of carpet. It covers 2/3 of the vehicle, and we've put it as we want from side to side. We like how it's positioned up by the console area, and wanted to make sure we had it where we wanted it before we go cutting the holes for the seats and all that stuff. But that part's next. This back part here is going to work out okay once we put the trim piece over it, as well as the cargo bin that sits back here. I don't think anyone will ever know about how the new carpet ended up being just a couple inches too short. So we're making the most of it. Now what remains is to cut the holes in this carpet for the protrusions and seats and stuff. Okay, so we have gone ahead and installed the bins for the back storage compartment and bolted them down, and our goal with that was that will help hold the rest of the carpet in place while we work on the seats in the front of the vehicle. And happily, when this is in place, you really don't see any evidence of how we had to cut a piece of the old carpet and stick it in there. No one's ever going to even think about it. So we'll know, but nobody else will, and we'll just keep it to ourselves. All right, so now we're going to cut the holes to install the second row of seats. Keep moving along. Okay, so I have cut the hole in the carpet for this seat bracket and put it in, but I'm not happy with it because apparently our new pad is thinner. Our new pad and new carpet is thinner than what was on here previously. So now, even though this is all the way down, it's just down as far as it needs to go, I've got this 1/4 inch gap around here, and I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with that at all because I don't like this gap. That's going to look hokey. All right, I have a plan. Now, hold on. Well, here's what we decided to do because these were sitting up too high. The fact of the matter is the old padding was thicker than the new padding and the old carpet was a little bit thicker than the new carpet. So the result was that these were sitting up a little too high. Well, I've decided to take a piece of the old carpet and just use it underneath the new carpet to give us a little more height. All right, so put the new carpet down in place, and this guy can go on there. And even still, I feel like there's a little bit of a gap here. It's not as tight down on the carpet as I would like, but there's not a whole lot we can do about it at this point. I think it'll be okay. The seats, the back row of seats sit on top of these, so we're not going to see it that much anyway. But it'll work out. Okay. All right. So I'm taking this extra piece that I cut out, I'm sticking it right up here for a little extra thickness because of these plastic covers just don't feel like they're as far down as they should be. Left, right. You still seem to have a tad bit of a gap because this new carpet and padding is not quite as thick as what we had before. Okay, these are in for the second row of seatings, and now we're going to turn around and focus our attention on the driver and the passenger in the front. Okay, so getting this in place, the carpet comes with the contours here, and this matches up to the mounds where the seat gets put. So that's non-negotiable. First thing I'm going to do is cut the hole, poke our wires through. Just an X in the carpet, one connector, two connector, and he's through. Now, line that up there. So it will be at this finished edge where the overlap will be behind the driver's and passenger seat. All right, so I want to make next the 1, 2, 3, 4 holes where these bolts come through, because that's a fixed protrusion. while to sit flat for us for the rest of the install. Okay, there's that one. That's pretty good. It's gonna be on top of there. Like that. So that looks good. This looks good coming across here. All right, I'm gonna cut out.
Yeah, that's got to slip underneath the duct.
This does, right?
Yes.
So the only thing in my way is the bracket, so I'll cut a notch right for the width of this bracket. We'll slide the front end under here, and this part will slide under there. Follow me?
Yes.
I might. Might just be able to cut it this way. So, actually, it's not a good idea, really. I think I could just cut like this. You just gotta make it work, people. Okay. How's it look?
Looks good. And we got all the finished plastic pieces to trim. It'll look really good.
Now, this cable comes through here, and I think we should make a slot for that. Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be underneath the console.
Right, because the console comes out this far.
You still filming?
I think so.
Okay.
You still watching? Don't want to take my knife into that cable of wires, that's for sure. Like so. Yeah, so here we go. I'm just trying to go slowly and carefully cut in. At the foot area here for the driver's side.
No, I'd say no.
There's a little post that sticks out here, and I push it through like that. I feel like I can make it. All right. Keep plugging away, people. About got this side done. All right, so the driver's side area is good. The wires coming through, the bolts for the seats. And it was a bit challenging, but working up all the way under there, I think we're good to go. Maybe not perfect, but I think it's going to be good enough. Could put this trim piece back on there, and then this side of the vehicle is done. We'll move over and do the passenger side. Okay, so you're looking at the carpet is now installed here in the front. Going slowly and carefully. It turned out okay. Maybe not perfect, but I think the overall effect is going to be satisfactory. All right, so now we're going to put in the center console, then the front seats, and then the back seats. Put the trim pieces, the door jambs in place. Here and here. Yeah, we're on the home stretch. So we're just putting it all back together. Put you up here on the tripod. Now let's get that console in.
Don't need any more rug pieces, right?
Oh, probably not.
That's holding on to it.
So we'll slide it up. We have to make this connection here, and we'll make the cable connection.
Still filming?
Yep. Not much to see. Gotta come a little closer. Leave me a few inches. All right, that was easy enough. Slide it all the way up. Oh, and great, that's in. All right, let's put the seats in. All right, we're going back. Gotta bolt it down. All right, I connected the wires. It's moving. It'll give us access to the bolts at the back. Size of anything. Okay. I think it's an 18 millimeter socket, which we don't have. So we're doing it the slow way. Alright. That's the seat, so that's all coming together. Let's put in the back seats. Okay.
buy it new?
Yeah, well, somebody had driven it for a week or two.
Better?
That's it.
There we go. One more seat and this is over. Well, there you have it, folks. The 2004 Buick Rendezvous is now sporting new carpets. You really don't see too much of it once you put all the cargo rack back in and the seats. But there's no more bleach spots. You can see right here underneath the back of the passenger front seat where the seam is. But that's not going to be hardly visible at all. So if you take your time, go carefully, it turns out pretty good.
Very nice.
And that's it.
Good.
So I'm Buck WSR Weezer here alongside Mr. Weezer Sr. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment and a question, and I hope this video helps you with your carpet replacement projects. Bye, everybody.